Hello, my name is Hurun and I'm the Chairman and Chief Researcher of the Hurun Report. Now, for a lot of people, when you go out at night or when you meet your entrepreneur friends, and it ends up talking about the state of the world economy, and it's highly complex. How do you really understand what's going on in the world economy? Well, I've got a solution for you today. I've got a list, and what I've done is I've managed to research and dig out all the world's known dollar billionaires, put them into a list, and then work backwards. The stories of these people in many ways will give us insights into what's going on really and truly in the world's economy. Who's up and who's down? They represent which industries are up and which industries are down. And what are the macro trends that deserve your attention? So I'm delighted to bring you today for the 12th year running the Hurun Global Rich List, put out this year in association with a premium baijiu brand from China. It's Jiada Yeda liquor. So thank you very much, Jiada Yeda, for your sponsorship, and please support our partner. So what are the key findings this year that I think are worthy of your attention? Well, first of all, if you just look at the number of billionaires that we've found, they're down by 11% compared to last year. That is actually only the second time in the last 12 years that the number of billionaires has shrunk. And so the last time was 2019. And in fact, if you compare it, say, to 10 years ago, we're double where we were. And then we try and understand sort of where did we end up with 3,100 known dollar billionaires this year. Well, that takes us back to just about pre-COVID levels, slightly better than pre-COVID levels, just to give you a flavor. And that will probably give an indication as to where the world economy is today as well. The second point is kind of like in a year when we've had ChatGPT that's sort of begin to give us an insight into perhaps the next industrial revolution. And it's a year when, technological revolutions in new energy and so on and so forth are changing people's lifestyles. And yet in such a year, the richest person in the world is a guy who sells luxury. It's LVMH's entrepreneur, Bernard Arnault from France, and he's got $200 billion to become the fifth number one in the world in the last 10 years. Actually, if you're interested, the other people that were number one was Elon Musk. He was number one last year, and now he's dropped down to number two. Jeff Bezos, he's even out of the top three this year. And before that was Bill Gates. He's out of the top five. And then it was a Mexican called Carlos Slim there from 10 years ago. So just to give you a little idea. And it's not just an oddity that Bernard Arnault is number one, the only luxury. No. And the people behind Hermes, he's number three. L'Oreal, the makeup and cosmetics company, they're in the top 10. The people behind Gucci, Chanel, they're all in the top 20 or 30 on the rich list. So luxury this year is one of the best performing sectors in the world. And I suppose it's sort of like people coming back after COVID. International travel is coming back again. And there is a lot of wealth sloshing around the world, and it's being soaked up by some of these luxury brands. But, and this is my third point, it's been a tough year nonetheless. Take the likes of Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, in the course of last year, he lost up to $100 billion. Nobody's ever lost that much money in 1 year. A lot of it came back, about half of it came back in the last few months as the world economy sort of picked up and China sort of ended its zero COVID policy and various other dynamics came into play too. But if you just look at Elon Musk, who's nonetheless down by 50 billion, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, who's down by 70 billion, and then the Google founders, between them, they've lost $250 billion in the last year. Just to give you a little flavor. Which sectors actually have made the most money? Well, financial services is still number one. About 9% of our rich list are financial services. Healthcare has done better than retail this year. As I just said, Jeff Bezos is down. And then food and drinks have had a better year than real estate. And part of the reason that real estate suffered is because in China, the real estate market has not yet properly picked up. So that takes me to my next point. So where do these billionaires choose to live? And this is again quite curious. So China is number one with just under 1,000. It's 150, 160 less than last year. The US is second with just under 700. Between China and the US, they make up just over 50% of all the known billionaires in the world. And third is India with just under 200. Then you've got Germany and the UK at about 150, Switzerland with 100, and so on and so forth. If you break it down a bit further into the cities, it's kind of curious. You've got Beijing is the preferred, is the capital of the billionaires in the world. and slightly ahead of New York, and New York is slightly ahead of Shanghai. But they've basically got over 100 known dollar billionaires living there today. The second batch is Shenzhen, which is just ahead of London, which is just ahead of Hong Kong. And then the third batch, you got the likes of Mumbai, Moscow, San Francisco, Hangzhou, Paris, Bangkok, Guangzhou, and so on and so forth. And this is very important because these billionaires, they can choose pretty much, in most cases, where they want to live. And the role model status that they have means that with their experience, with their platforms, with their wealth, they'll be able to stimulate a lot of sort of growth, hopefully, around them and make it more dynamic. So if we dig a bit deeper into what's going on in China, well, number one is Zhong Shanshan, and he's the bottled water king from a brand called Nongfu Shanquan. It's ubiquitous in China. You can find absolutely everywhere. And you can really notice the difference. Say, so 10 years ago, it was sort of around in some places. Now, pretty much anywhere, even in the sticks, you can find his bottled water brand. Number two is Pony Ma. He's gone up a little bit, a couple of spots, despite losing just over 10 billion US dollars, which tells you something. Number three, who was number two, is Zhang Yiming. He's the 40-year-old founder of Douyin Group, and they're actually grappling with the US government at the moment as to what to do with the future of TikTok in America. Number four, and we go on and so forth, is Robin Zeng, he's the battery king of the world. And I suppose in the same way that pretty much all the top EV makers like Tesla and everybody's had a tough year, he's also come down by a third as a result. And the best performer in China is a guy called Colin Huang Zhen, from Pinduoduo, which is a mass e-commerce platform that's, can you believe it's only been around for just under 8 years? And then anyway, it's already got just under 900 million active users. And this year they've expanded into America with a brand called Temu. So his wealth has gone up by 12 billion US dollars year in, year out. There are so many other fun stories that come out of the Hurun Global Rich List. For example, women billionaires. Of the 200-300 women billionaires that we've got on this year's list, did you know that 80% come from China? 80% means that China's not just number one. It's like head and shoulders the number one cradle for women entrepreneurs in the world. And the question is why? And we've got a whole list on this that will come out separately, but you can look at that. It's a brilliant, it's a fascinating subject. And then finally, I'm just going to leave you with a thought here that a few years ago, when these billionaires were growing exponentially fast, I was starting to ask myself the question, when are we going to see the first trillionaire in the world? And then I was thinking, well, has anybody missed out on being a trillionaire? And apart from you, of course, who are watching this. But anyway, Bill Gates is another one. And when Microsoft went public, he had 45% of Microsoft shares, which last year would have made him a trillionaire. But for the fact that he sold almost all of them, he's only got 1% left now. So, and 1% means he's got 100 billion left that we can measure. He's given away about 70 billion to charity over the years. But had he just kept his Microsoft shares, maybe today he'd be the first trillionaire. But anyway, I'll leave you with that. Maybe we're going to see a trillionaire in about 5 years' time. That sounds about right to me. So thanks very much for watching. And I hope that this sort of list can give you insights into what's truly going on in the world's economy. And it is really important to talk about truly going on in the world's economy because these people represent and control in many ways the backbone of the world's economy. And so the stories of these people do give us insights into what's going on. Thank you very much for watching. Speak soon. Bye-bye.